I started to see things weren't quite right years ago. There were all these planes crisscrossing the sky. And this was then, before... There were so many of them. Long plumes in the sky. I read about this man in a microlight. It's one of those sail things with an engine somewhere. I can't remember. And suddenly, this thing just fell out the sky. No reason, just like that. They said that... They said he'd run out of fuel. But when he crashed, there was a huge fire. People said they heard the engine running as he fell. I mean, how could there have been a fire if he'd run out of petrol? Then I read on the internet about these chemtrails. They spray something, these planes. It's what you see in the vapour trails. It's something poisonous. It's not good for you. I'm not sure what it does, but I know it's there. People laughed at me when I told them. Don't be so gullible, they said. They're just vapour trails, jet planes. But if that story's true about the microlight, it makes you think. I mean, it was years ago, but it's been at the back of my mind for ages. It's niggled. All these allergies nowadays, people getting ill, the environment. Something's going on. We moved here a couple of years back. We used to be in a village, but everyone talked about us, Reg and me. Not to us, but behind our backs. It was something and nothing, but it got to us. When we went in the shop, conversation just stopped, like they were talking about us. I know we're a bit different. Reg had a good job. He was on the base. Not a pilot or anything glamorous. Security. General dog's body. 20 years of it. But he's got a pension. He had to be smart. But since then he's got all these tattoos. Crazy bugger. I never had a job, not a proper one. That's what my mum always said. I made things, sold them at markets. Pin money. Anyway, after Reg left work, we decided to up sticks and live in a van. Reg fitted it out. It was comfortable. With a bed and a kitchen. We even had a wood burner. Didn't have a loo, but we had a shovel. We thought we'd see a bit of the country after all the years living in flatlands out in Suffolk. It was great. Scotland, the lakes, down to Cornwall, Wales, anywhere we could stop. Sometimes they moved us on. I suppose people thought we were a threat. Travellers, jippos. We lived on nothing. Wonderful times. We had 5 years in that van. Then we thought we'd come off the road, stop travelling. We found an old wreck of a building in Wales. A bit isolated, but we liked that. We scraped the money together and made a nice place to settle down. Reg did the building work, just like he'd done with the van. We had running water, well, a stream, a loo, solar panels, and the internet. Where would I be without Facebook? I've never been much good with technology. I leave that up to Reg, but Facebook's so easy. And the friends you make. I joined loads of groups. Animals, nature. I even joined a knitting group. I haven't knitted for ages. I thought I might pick it up again during lockdown. Dream on. There's one that's right up my street. Living off grid. Fantastic. Full of really good advice. People are always willing to share what they know. People you've never met. I've got 75 new friends off it. One bloke, Dave, it's been really good. He's got the same outlook on life as me. He says he was something in finance, then gave it all up to live different. Good on him. Didn't take long to start chatting on WhatsApp. There we are, putting the world to rights. And suddenly he'll say, Marion, I've got something to send you, and ping, there'll be a link in the text box. It's always interesting, makes me think. I need that. Did I say we've got a daughter? She's mine, not by Reg. Another bloke when I was 19. Crystal. We lost touch in the van years, but she'd gone by the time we left. Went to the bright lights. When I say we lost touch, we do keep up. She's settled down now, somewhere in Cornwall. She knows where we are. Got our email, phone. Yeah, I miss her. And the kid. Justin. It's my grandson. It upsets me, but Reg was never one for children. And after we'd done the house, we did the land. We wanted to be self-sufficient, live on what we could grow. And chickens, always chickens and eggs. Yeah, it's not well, the little boy. Sick. Well, I say sick, but it's more like it's in his head. He's 5 now, well, going on 6. But when he was 3, he started to scream and shout. Crystal sent me videos. It was obvious he wasn't well. One of the videos showed him banging his head into the chair, just shouting, bang, 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 that little head of his just thumping into the seat of the chair. It was that vaccine they give him. MMR. Dave told me about it. But Crystal said it was just the way it worked out. One of those things. He's autistic. But I know, because she told me the doctor forced her to have the jab. They just gave it to him. No messing. It's as clear as day on the internet. Reg told me when the forces were in the Gulf, they had to have all these injections. Not him, he wasn't there, but when they got back, he picked it all up in the canteen. They'd been made to have them. No one knew what it was. Officially, it was a cocktail, not a bloody gin and tonic, I can tell you. Same with the vaccine they gave Justin. No one knows, but that's what caused it. All the head banging. They know. They always knew. Social experiment that went wrong. Same with the virus. Who knows where it comes from? During the first lockdown, I spent hours on the internet trying to find out. Reg was outside doing what he does, tinkering, bit of gardening, building a new shed. Oh, they're full of old carpets. He loves his cars. But I was inside. I had to find out. I needed to. Locked down, locked up, locked out, told what to do. Fact is, I don't know anyone who's had it. Not even sure it's real. One of the things Dave and me talked about is 5G. Reg learned on the base radio waves could be really dangerous. They'd been warned not to get too close to the nose cones where the radar is. It could fry you alive. 5G, just as bad. I read all this stuff. How they have to wear special suits up the masts. Dave sent me a message about a big march in Birmingham. Now, I am not a demonstration person. I didn't go on any of those marches about the Iraq thing. That's what Reg was doing, how he was earning his money. I wasn't about to complain. But I talked to Reg about it, the march. Said we might go. I wasn't sure if he'd be up for it. But he was. I said we might meet up with my Facebook friend. It'd be funny to meet him in the flesh. We went in the van, found somewhere to park up. I mean, that was hard, because they put up all these barriers to stop vans getting in. Lots of places. It's typical somehow. Anyway, we parked up and took the bus into town. Amazing. So many people. Not just the types you see on the telly, waving banners and shouting. No, people like us, ordinary people, concerned. I hadn't a hope in hell of bumping into Dave. We hadn't made any arrangement. We got loads of leaflets, went back with a stack of them, and speeches. Oh, we were miles back in the crowd, but they had these big loudspeakers up by the podium. There was a nurse who'd been sacked for speaking out against what was going on. She said 5G was causing the virus. I can believe that. Someone talked about how we were all going to be forced to be vaccinated. How Bill Gates, Microsoft, was planning to put a chip into everyone on the planet. You won't find that in the newspapers. And then, at the end, this man came to the front. He was the last speaker. Everyone cheered. He was brilliant. It was like a breath of fresh air about how the government was keeping things from us, how there was a plan, how it was all secret, but he knew. He'd found out things I never imagined. Really frightening. We're being lied to. It's all about control. 5G, children disappearing, the virus, the vaccinations. He said the virus was man-made. I believe him. It makes so much sense. These things don't just appear out of nowhere. He showed how all the bits of the puzzle fit together. He called it the New World Order. That's what they want. And they're using the virus to get their way, just like that. It's breathtaking, horrifying. I'm really angry about all this. What have we done to deserve it? Reg didn't say much, but I could see him nodding. He must know things from the base he's never told me. It all fits. I'm not wearing this anymore. You can go to prison if you don't. According to Dave, lots of people have been arrested for not wearing one. When the man at the meeting said everyone should take theirs off, I could see people hesitating. Not that many people were wearing them. I took mine off. The couple next to me did. And then everyone did. Just ripping them off and chucking them on the ground. Mind control, that's what it is. It felt like liberation. The square was littered with masks when we left, like confetti. We got back to the van, drove home. Since then, I've been going through the leaflets. Amazing. I never realised how much we were being controlled. Living like we do, quite remote, I thought we were free, independent. But we're not. We're slaves. Slaves to a secret cabal. Pawns. When she was a kid, Crystal came home from school and said, "Mum, are we prawns?" I said, "What?" "Prawns," she said. "Mr. Bailey at school said we were all like prawns in a bigger game." The penny dropped. She meant pawns. I said, "No, that's silly. You're Crystal. You're not a pawn." But she was right. We are pawns in a bigger game, and they don't want us to know the rules. But I'm beginning to, and I'm angry. Fucking furious. Most people's eyes are closed. They just don't want to know. I learnt so much at that meeting in Birmingham. It makes my head spin what's going on. How could we have been so blind not to see the truth, the facts, how it's all connected? The planes in the sky, the radio waves, the stuff they put in the water, the vaccinations. There's a new mast going up near us. God knows what it will do to us. I want to burn it down. It's got to stop. People like us have got to rise up before it's too late. Who else is going to if we don't? There were 30,000 people at least at that rally, only the telly said it was 5. I was there. There were thousands. Another lie. Mainstream media lies. Oh, thank God for the internet. I wouldn't begin to know any of this without it. A little while back, Crystal called, just out the blue. She sounded really up, not like I've heard her in a long time. Said they're putting Justin on a new treatment, behavioural therapy. I cut her off. That's how it all started, I said. Silence. Are you there? I said. Yes, Mum, I'm listening. What are you trying to say to me? I said, injections is how it all started. That MMR stuff, that's what caused it. And now you're going to let them give him more? Well, I got an earful then. Mum, this is nothing to do with injections. Anyway, you know what I think? We've been through all this before. This treatment's going to help him. I've discussed it with them. Well, that really got me going. I let fly. I told her she shouldn't be so stupid. She was trusting them. Did she have any idea what she was doing? I told her about the meeting in Birmingham, and then she shouted at me. You were there at that rally in Birmingham with all those crazy people, conspiracies about this and that, all that nonsense. Oh, it got worse after, a real shouting match on the phone. She accused me of going down the rabbit hole, that it was all nonsense, that I was being lied to for God knows what reason. They're lying to your mum, don't fall for it. Lying to me, eh? I know who's lying, and it's not them. We slammed the phone down on each other. My own daughter, my flesh and blood, and she can't see. I have had it up to here. I've read the book. But she hasn't even opened the cover. Well, I got straight on to Dave. I knew he'd know what to do. He'd tell me what to say to her to make her believe. He'd have another fact, something she didn't know. But he's vanished. And his Facebook page is gone. Even his WhatsApp's not working. They must have got him. They must have. That was weeks ago. I've heard nothing. I don't want to lose her. I brought her into this world. I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm trying to tell you something important. Like I told you to look both ways when you cross the road, like not talking to strangers. Can't I get even you to understand? Don't you see? I'm angry. More angry than I've ever been. Not with you, sweetie. The world. Such a shit place. Crystal, Let me